Welcome to the new face of Black television, the PIC TV network, Channel 1000. Thank you for watching this presentation.
Welcome to the importance and power of reading. I'm Michelle, the computer lady, your host. During some awful dark times in America, Black people were denied the ability to read, to learn how to read, to write, or to even own books. And that has hampered our communities up until this day. Now we're going to have important conversations about the importance and power of reading.
Hi, everybody. I'm Michelle, the computer lady, your host for the importance and power of reading. On today's segment, I have an amazing man. This is going to be an epic interview. He's the phenomenal Chris Woodworth. Chris, thank you so much for joining our show. Oh my God, I love what you do and have been kind of following you on social media because you're a voice actor. But would you tell everybody what that is and some of the things that you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on this platform and inviting me. I basically spend long periods of time in this padded room talking to myself, making very strange noises and yeah, and voices and things like that. That's a simple way of saying it, but I use my voice to basically communicate, for different things. I specialize in voices for animation. That's not just like impressions, because I do a lot of impressions and voice matching, but unique animated characters that it usually involves me having to change the age of my voice or sometimes my accent. I do one or two accents, as well, other than my natural, quite mixed British accent, and things like that. But also I do narrations for like corporate videos and things like that. And yeah, so yeah, that's the bulk of what I do. Yeah, and I do a lot of social media showcasing it as well in fun ways.
Awesome. So, can you tell our audience how you got into this and some of the characters or some of the movies that they might have seen that you've been in?
Right. Okay. Well, it was around lockdown when COVID kind of came around, and I decided that, yeah, wouldn't it be great to go into voice acting because it was a niche that I really needed to scratch. I grew up really enjoying doing different types of impressions and voices and things like that, and my now fiance really had my back as well, and I started taking a couple of acting courses, and I took voice acting classes, and started really networking and mingling. I used Clubhouse as well, the audio networking app as well, and can't believe that thing is free. It's so good. But I was on there in different rooms with different professionals, and uh, sometimes I was next in line to introduce myself and share what I could do, and just build very genuine connections as well. But but along the ways, I would find myself I would find myself introducing myself in a very unexpected but quick way, valuing people's time. Kind of saying something like, "Hi, I'm Chris Woodworth. I'm a voice actor, and if you want to know my vocal dexterity, because I've specialized in animation, I can kind of go as high as Elmo from Sesame Street, because Elmo's a good little monster." So as low as I am Groot, and everything in between. Yeah, so that's the way I would do it. But eventually, yeah, built this studio, and gradually started working. I would love to work in movies. I haven't got there yet, but I have voiced one or two animated characters in student films. I've done one or two corporate videos that are out there as well, and it takes a while to get traction with voice acting, but when it starts to happen, which it is for me, it it's so satisfying and really exciting. The things I'm auditioning for, and yeah, the way I'm using my voice these days.
That is amazing. Now, tell everybody where you're from.
So I'm from the northwest of England. It's a small town called Wigan. It's between Liverpool and Manchester. I usually like to say it's between Manchester United football team and the Beatles. That's where I am from. Yeah. Although my accent seems to be a mix of north, south. Sometimes I get slight American twang because of the exposure of the American movies that we're always exposed to here in the UK, and yeah, so my accent's kind of got slightly jumbled, So yeah, so even though I'm British, at times if I need to, I can kind of put on more of an American accent, and that can be kind of awesome after a while. And yeah, what can I say? It's so good to be here, like that.
I love it. I love it. This is phenomenal. Now, let's get into some questions because you're a voice actor and as a professional, did you like reading as a child?
Yes, I loved reading as a child. I have my my dad to thank or blame for that. Really, so yeah, he knew the importance of reading, and I think it was our way of bonding as well. It was a routine every night. We'd kind of take it in turns. I'd get read to, and then it was my turn to read. And yes, yeah, it was a great. It was a great thing even to take on holidays as well, or vacations, as you say, and yeah, just always have like something to read, like on a plane or on a road trip or something like that. And it became just this habit, and I always liked, uh, so sometimes even some of the things that I read were like the books that were the movies were based on. They inspired certain movies. I always like to read the book first, the original book, because I found that, yeah, there was a heck of a lot more detail. Yeah, there was a lot more behind them, and there seemed to be more substance. And yeah, that was something I was really hooked on. Loved it.
That that is excellent. Now, what was your favorite book as a child?
Oh, when I was really young, some of my early childhood memories, I liked we had a character here in the UK, like an animated series, but they had a series of books though, called Willy Fogg, based on Phileas Fogg, Around the World in 80 Days. Yeah. I loved reading those books, and even the original like classic book as well, Around the World in 80 Days. It was just really exciting because it was just that race against time. It was adventure. It was all of these experiences. It was probably the one thing that sparked my need to experience different countries when I grew up as well. To go and visit different countries and experience other cultures and things like that, which I did. I'm happy to say, and yeah, but I'll never forget that.
Well, now that that was your favorite book as a child, what are you reading these days? What's got you turned on and some recommendations you can give our folks out in the audience?
Oh, right. These days, as I got older, I really enjoyed Michael Crichton novels. Um, Yeah, like I think there was a book called Sphere that I read quite often. It was the whole mystery element. It really transported you. I love that. And at the moment, there is a book that I've read probably about two or three times, to be honest, like reading it to myself, but then also reading it live on Clubhouse because I like it so much. It's Yes Man. Yeah, and I yeah, I'm trying to remember the last name of the author, but yeah, that's it, Daniel Wallace. Danny Wallace, that's it. Um, and I love reading that because it's the author's personality really comes out, in the just his natural quirkiness. It comes out in the writing. It's just really infectious. So it goes from like comedy to quite touching and thought provoking, and it kind of inspired me to take more chances as well, even though um, he does things in a more exaggerated way, saying yes to everything. So yeah. but it is one of my favorite books currently.
That is phenomenal. Now, when did you start reading as a child? What age?
Hmm. It's a very good question. I was thinking about that recently, and I don't know if it was like slowly from like the age of 5, 6, something like that. Just gradually starting from there. So I think it's because it was a very early age. It became something that I really excelled in, and but wow, my dad did start me early. Still remembering it. Getting a flood of memories right now. Please excuse me. Yeah,
No worries. No worries.
it's
This
so
is
good.
all fun here
Mm.
because for us, for me, I started at 2.5 years old. And a lot of kids, like dad read to you, my dad read to me, my mom read to me, and then I would always see them modeling books. And so that's one of my favorite questions to ask because sometimes it elicits this wonderful memory about a book that they saw or a picture book. Because my sister gave me some of my first books. And on that note, we've got to take a small commercial break, and we'll be right back with our wonderful guest, Chris Woodworth. He's a voice actor here on the importance and power of reading. Stay tuned.
Are you a company, business, or service that believes in social responsibility? Would you like to make a positive impact? You can. You can sponsor this program and be seen by 2 million viewers on the PIC TV network. Call 770-367-1268 for more information today.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Michelle, the computer lady, and we're on the importance and power of reading. I have a epic guest. He's a voice actor from the United Kingdom, from England, Chris Woodworth. And we're discussing our love of reading, how we got started in our reading, and when we started reading. Chris, welcome back to the segment.
Thank you for having me back.
Now, as a professional, because you're into voice acting, how important is reading in the comprehension of words in what you do and how you convey what you see and the characters you portray?
Reading is extremely important in what I do as a voice actor. It's something that you find that when you start getting into voice acting, you learn like the actual level of reading, the level that you are at reading. That wow, I need to really improve this. It's been a while or something, because there's reading to yourself, but then wow, there's reading out loud. It feels like that's a different kettle of fish because at times, well, what can I say? A lot of what a voice actor does is rehearsing. Well, not rehearsing, sorry, auditioning. We do so many auditions. It's um, it's the most of what we do. And so if you imagine like you get an audition and it's a very random script and you have to get into the habit of not taking way too much time, on it. Otherwise, you probably miss out on other auditions and you've got a life as well and you need to be very much on it and you need to basically just glance over this script, the very small script, and then you've got to really get used to sight reading it and reading ahead. And even at times I've been part of audio dramas as well, like live audio dramas. And I would actually have to get used to taking my time, pacing it, and reading ahead as well. And that's what can I say? Over time, since I've started voice acting, my ability to read has definitely improved. Gotten better. And I didn't think it could improve, but yes, it has. Yeah. So yeah, definitely very vital.
Awesome. Now, you said that, this is something recent since we've had COVID. What were you doing before you became a voice actor?
Ah, well, what I do full time on top of my side job as a voice actor, I am an animator. So and I work in video games, and so yeah. So I still do that. But before COVID, one of the things I was actually doing, I was a close-up magician of all things. I did close-up magic. I got hired randomly to perform at weddings and things like that. And yes, it was crazy times doing that over a number of years. But yes, my job as an animator took precedence. It was the forefront of what I did, and yeah, it works side and side now with the voice acting. Yeah.
So, can you tell us some of the projects that you've worked on as an animator and a voice actor?
Yes, absolutely. As an animator, I've worked on so many video games titles. It was only today that I looked through and I was trying to get an estimate of how many like titles I've worked on that are out there. And the number I've come up with is around 24. Yeah, titles out there you can get internationally. It was from like even the very first Lego Batman game. It was way before the Lego Batman movie came out, and there was so many Lego video games titles, even Lego Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and Lego Marvel like superhero games as well, and even Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga as well, and I got to do realistic facial animation on like a couple of recent titles. I think there was Gotham Knights and Hogwarts Legacy. Yeah, based on Harry Potter and getting characters to talk. Yeah, like you see my face right now, I'll get them very, very realistic and everything. Um, as a voice actor, I've voiced characters on one or two student projects that are available to see online. And I've linked them on my website, chriswoodworthvo.com. You can have a look there. But also the there's a video I narrated for Huawei as well. Yeah, the mobile network, and so I narrated a video about their app that was focused on an app that was created to help uh, deaf people communicate easier as well. Um, so yeah, the hearing impaired, and so that was down to me to use my natural voice to tell his story and actually put emotion into it and give a sense of hope as well. And yes. So there were other corporate videos that I've narrated and as well, and a couple of other things that are coming out. I would say, watch this space early. One, two projects I can't talk about. Um, but aside from that, I am in a couple of audio dramas coming up. There's one called "The Original Father of Time," and there is one called uh, the divine instruments where I voice the Archangel Michael. It has to be I guess, the warrior, protective, but the person who is filled with wisdom and calmness. So he kind of has my voice, but just a little bit more calm, a little more international as well. Mm.
That is absolutely epic. Folks, you heard it here. Some things that you can look forward to from Chris. But now let's continue with our questioning. Now, in the UK, because it's different from the United States as far as how we govern, do you guys have a literacy problem in the UK among boys and girls?
Um, in some areas, of the UK, I'd say. I guess it depends uh, where these children are raised and who they're raised by. I'd say, certain situations. I think you can yeah, you can kind of tell with some people that you do uh yeah speak to. I think it's not uh like very fast, there's literally this problem, but it's definitely out there, yeah, depending on where you go. You can
And
hear it
so,
when you
what
have
areas would you
conversation.
compare it to from here
Mm.
to in the UK and in the United States? How would you compare it? Because a lot of people don't understand the UK and don't understand your educational system because we're recording this in the United States. So,
Mm.
what are some of the differences, if you might know?
Hmm. Some of the differences. Yeah, it's quite a tough one for me to answer, really. Trying to compare it. Yeah. I Yeah, I would say that we do have, I would say to an extent, the Queen's English kind of like really drilled into us, like from a very early age, like even the importance of grammar. I would say, yeah, and because I'm not like well in tune with how things are done, like in the US, like in the teaching. So it's difficult for me to compare. But um, but all I can say is that yeah, some some children kind of like keep it and carry it through, and then what they're drilled into, what they're having drilled into them from a young age, But yeah, some of them they kind of just tend to leave it and kind of slacken it, and yeah, um, that's what I'd say. Mm.
So, when you go to school, because here we have Head Start, kindergarten, then we have elementary school, first through sixth grade, and then we have middle school, and then high school. How is your educational system there set up versus ours? I mean, do you have
Mm.
a 12th grade? Is it private? Is it public? Those kind of things.
We have the different options, where people can just go to public school or even private school. Um, yeah, my parents took me through private school. Yeah, I remember, and yeah, so things are done very specific there, where even some people, well, other people my age, like children, were asking me who weren't in private school, were just randomly asking me, "Are you posh? No, do you not like speak in the RP way or anything?" It's because I go to the private school. But yeah, but the system that we have in place, it's kind of going from like a nursery to I guess uh, primary, then there's junior school. There is what we call secondary school or high school. We have, I guess, college, or we call it like sixth form, where it's like a couple of years, like that. And from there, if people want to carry on with education, yeah, it's university. As well from there. So we don't call that college. We literally say, "Yep, going to university." Yeah. Mm.
Also, we have university here. Uh,
Mm.
Also, because you're a guy, do you have children?
I actually don't have children, no, but we're looking to have children one day. Yeah. Mm.
Awesome. So, in our country, especially in our culture, a lot of times we see that men in particular have a hard time quieting their minds because you guys are gathering hunters and you do all this exploration. You like to be outside. Do you have, or does the UK have a problem with boys reading or
Mm.
reading well?
Um, not so much. No, it's not like totally evident. Quite a few guys in the UK do like to, yeah, do like to read. I think what they read, that's the question, as well. You know, um, yeah, we're yeah, guys here may, I mean, there are quite a few of them that may prefer to read like magazines or newspapers or something like that, but then there are the select amount that do like to actually read novels and things like that. But no, I've really come across like a lack of it too much. Mm.
And I think that might be because of the standards already set.
I think so. What's instilled in us from a young age, and yeah, what's required as part of the education system here, and the importance of it, and just being able to function, from here. We try to just maintain it, hold on to it. Mm.
Well, are boys and girls pushed into university? Is there a different standard for girls and boys? Is it more equal than here in the United States, or is it the same?
Um, I'd say it's actually quite equal. Yeah. There's. Hmm. it's like boys and girls, they don't seem to be held to like different standards, like when it comes to going into university, it is literally just if they feel like it's the right move, for them. If they want to go straight into work, like when they're done with like college, and or if they do want an actual degree, quite a few people here in the UK, have maybe done a degree or completed a degree. Maybe they've started it, but they've decided that now this isn't working for me, and but they would go straight into the workforce, and they would seem to do really well. And yeah, and I'm saying that from some well, that's coming from somebody who has a degree and a master's, by the way. So yeah, people have the different paths, but a lot of people, yeah, do just fine. Yeah.
Well, so because here, you can go from high school and go right into work. So, college is an option. It depends on, your what your parents make, how you prepare those things and scholarships. And I find in the UK, it's almost an unwritten expectation that you go into college or that you would further your education. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. Yeah, you'd basically further it from there. It's um, I mean, all I can say is, yeah, everyone's different. Yeah. Mm.
Awesome. Well, on that note, we got to take another small commercial break, and we'll be right back with our wonderful guest,
Thank you.
Mr. Chris Woodworth, voice actor, on the importance and power of reading. Stay tuned. You're watching the Pick TV Network, Channel 1000. Mommy, what is an entrepreneur? Is a great way to give your children a legacy of wealth. You can get a free book today that will teach them about entrepreneurship. Go to tmrcus.com and get one today for free and create a great spark as you read it together with your child. Welcome back to the Importance of Power of Reading. I'm Michelle, the Computer Lady, your host, and I have an amazing and epic guest from the United Kingdom. I have Chris Woodworth, and we've been talking about the differences in the educational system between the UK and the United States and how more people there are guided into college, and it's a more natural process. Now, Chris, I have to ask, do you have any recommendations on how we can model reading for our children and how parents can help ensure that their kids read better?
Yes, I would say make it a habit. Make it a bonding experience. I'm going off how my dad really brought me up on this as well, because it can be a very powerful bonding experience, and not don't make it as a chore. Find a way to make it fun. And it doesn't really have to be like a specific thing. It can be something that they are quite intrigued with, as well. If you just kind of have that exploration factor as well, or yeah, that storytelling factor can help. Something that can really transport them and make them want to continue, as well. Put it simply, don't make it a drag. Yeah. So yeah, and that habit, if you do it right, that habit will continue. And from what I've experienced and what I've witnessed, yeah.
Awesome. Now, you said you guys are going to try to plan and have children. So, will you be reading to the baby in animated voices?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my fiance knows that she can just imagine that I would just do that because she never gets tired of me doing voices, and even when we're meeting like friends, children, or something like that, yeah, she would say to me like in front of them, "Oh, do Elmo or do Donkey from Shrek, do for them like that," and yeah, and just make them laugh or something like that or get their attention. But yeah, I'd absolutely do that, and that'd be a fun way of storytelling. Mhm.
I think so. Now, you know about STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. That's a buzzword that's international.
Hmm.
How can we help our kids gravitate towards STEM and learning STEM in a very fun and interactive way?
To really show them the importance and relevance of it as well. Um, because thinking back to school and even sixth form, back in the day, no, well, school mainly. That's when I was going through the sciences. In college, I wasn't going through the sciences, um, but I do remember just even having someone just saying like, okay, science classes, and I would think of maybe one or two certain things, like Bunsen burners and experiments and things like that, and then it would go over my head. But but if you think about certain things, like in terms of like for instance, biology as well, that was like one of those areas that really interested me. Just learning about how things work the way they do, how we work the way we do. Just yeah, just if you learn more about this, you learn more about yourself and how you function, and just everything about like the human body, about plants and wildlife, and you start to make it more relevant and not cold and uh and just formulaic, and just there has to be a way of connecting, yeah, as well, and that can be done through the different sciences, and yeah, even engineering. I mean, you start to kind of bring things into it the children actually know about, as well. Like, just cars, and with the fact that we all have like, cell phones, these days. How does your TV work? How does these cell phones work? And things like that. Just start to bring those into it as well. And yeah. So the more relevant you make it, the more that they will start to listen and gravitate. Yeah.
I can I totally agree with that. Now, as an animator, you use technology. So, would you explain to kids how you use technology to animate and just a couple of processes so the folks that might be interested or children that might be interested know some of the processes that go along with that?
Yeah, absolutely. If you think about a Pixar animator working on Toy Story, um, how does Woody move? Yes, he is actually being controlled, to make him look like he is alive, and is actually created. The look of him is created by artists and researchers. People who really want a very specific look. But the animators, they are the people that bring life to him, actual movement and personality. So if you imagine like he is a 3D like model that's just in a computer, and you can actually turn him around, he's stuck like that, he's not moving, but you can kind of turn him around, you can look at all the details of him, but he has all of these controls all over him that move every part of his body, even bending his fingers and bending his hand, even opening his mouth, things like that, and doing all these different expressions. It's basically like a computerized puppet. So, because animators, we have learned and studied how people move, we have learned body language and things like that. We have learned about, well, a lot about how we express emotion in different ways. We've studied acting and things like that. It is our job to make that character emote, really, and act.
Awesome, awesome. So, if a child wanted to be an animator, or if a kid, was looking towards, I'd like to be an animator, I'd like to create characters, what would you recommend to them? What would you say? What path would you give them to go into?
I would say actually it starts really, I would say start people watching. That would, yeah, that start to make that just a bit of a habit. Really start to be observant, of people. Maybe start drawing people as well. And even like in school, when it comes to the point where you can actually start choosing your classes as well, maybe take up well, like an acting or theater class, or take up maybe art as well, where you can do more drawing, as well, and yeah, maybe English language, as well, English literature or something, um, and eventually, when it comes to going to university, there are so many great animation courses now out there where you can learn the animation principles. I actually started off learning how to do animation the hand-drawn Disney style, or even like claymation, like they do with Wallace and Gromit and things like that, and yeah, I've tried that type of animation, or yeah, so many different types of animation, but then eventually it moved to computer, as well. So definitely have a look at courses out there where they can allow you to basically create magic to really show movement and show emotion.
All right. So now, before we wrap this up, I have a couple more questions. Did you read about animation as a child? Is this something that you were always interested in?
Yeah, I read about animation when I think it was when I was still at school, and we were having a kind of a university day where they were showcasing to us a whole list of courses that were out there, and I saw the word animation, and I'd heard of it before, but I just couldn't really describe what exactly it was, and so I ended up getting a book of it. Yeah, it was a book about how a Disney animated feature is made as well. And it was full of images, but very descriptive, each of the passages and about the actual animation process, creating characters, recording voices, all of that. And reading that book, I think I still have it. Yeah, from so many years ago. And it really prompted me to really focus on that path to being an animator. That's when I knew what I wanted to do. And I was a lucky one because I was like a young age from reading that book. Mm.
That is absolutely phenomenal. So, everyone, now you heard how he got into it. And if your young person is interested in animation, this is a great start. Now, I got your last question. And the question is, do you think it's vital that parents, caregivers, or even the village have books for children to access so they can spur their love of reading and what their interests are?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Even better, not like a digital book on your iPad or something like that. Just try and have that separation. See if you can have some good traditional, like, creaking books, you turn pages, just in the house. Yes, we still have some. Yeah, I have downsized, but the very valuable ones, I still have those, that I still look back on, and yeah, they're in my office upstairs, and yeah, so have them available, and uh just don't, lose that tradition, I'd say. Yeah. And uh, I think it's just very important for our children going forwards. Yeah.
I think so too. And I'm totally in agreement with that. Now, Chris, I want to take this time to thank you for joining us. And would you share how people can reach out to you or view you on your different social media platforms?
Absolutely. You can reach me by if you just go straight to my website. So that's chriswoodworthvo.com. When you go to that website, you can see links to my different social media platforms as well. You can just click on them. There's Instagram, there's TikTok, and yeah, there's a Facebook page as well, LinkedIn, things like that. But if you just go to chriswoodworthvo.com, you'll see everything there.
Awesome. And as we go out, would you give us one of your favorite voice characters?
Oh, one of my yeah, I'd say one of my favorite voices is Sir David Attenborough of Planet Earth, who is not an animated character. He is a narrator, one who goes back in time about our planet.
Thank you so much for joining us today. This was an epic segment. Ah, you blessed our souls and you helped to spur and for people to know the importance and power of reading. Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you for having me.
So, everyone, now you see reading plays a vital role no matter where you are in this world. Your love or learning to love reading is going to be one of the things that carry you through and make you great. And I want to take this time to thank each and every one of you for joining in this new segment on the importance and power of reading. See you next week.
Since 1877, Jackson State University has been training students for a life of service and leadership to impact our global society. Ranked among the best HBCUs in the country, Jackson State University offers 47 undergraduate, 37 master's, 1 specialist, and 13 doctoral degree programs. Whether you're interested in the arts, education, public health, the sciences, or business, we're here to take you from ready to JSU ready. Visit jsums.edu and apply today.
You know what's going on in our society, book banning, and over 38 million children don't have books in their homes. Join me for some exciting segments as we talk about the importance and power of reading with my guest.
My name is Shahara Wooten.
Join this conversation on the PIC TV network, channel 1000.